Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube segment, I'm going to be talking about something called forgiveness. A lot of us know what this is and what it pertains to, but we don't always practice it. I look at forgiveness and the way I guess you could say I see this or perceive forgiveness is basically not being vengeful, vindictive towards someone for some wrongdoing or iniquitous act that this person may have committed against you. We look at it like maybe at first we have to forgive ourselves for not being able to forgive somebody for a certain period of time. I understand somebody does us wrong. A natural response is to be angry and to be resentful toward that person for a certain period of time. But at times, not at times, we generally, most of the time at least, if not all, we have to forgive and really just kind of let the bygones be bygones. Life is very short in relative terms. My 43 plus years have gone by like there was no tomorrow, and we look at having animosity or anger toward a person. What that really does is that just kind of eats away at your soul, at your insides. I don't know if a person can really give himself literally an ulcer from this, but maybe they could come at least close to it. It could be detrimental to your own health. It's just something that I can understand in certain cases what makes it difficult. It depends on the severity of the crime, or was perceived as a crime, sometimes literal or not, even especially a legal crime. Something illegal was committed against you or a wrongdoing. What makes it tough too is that sometimes you might be dealing with a person that is just very adversarial, and somebody that is just does one wrong thing to you after another. That could be very difficult to deal with, because you could try to forgive the person one time, then a week goes by and then they do something else to hurt you. Now, a lot of this has to do with certain levels of sensitivity. There are people, I'm kind of a sensitive person. I would classify myself as probably being a little above average in that department. Sometimes sensitivity is proportionate with what one has to endure in life. If a person is under some kind of persistent verbal attack from others, ridicule, criticism, for criticism that's not even constructive, which is coated with belligerence, in those instances, I could understand certain sensitivity, and what can come along with that is the tendency to harbor grievances and grudges for a prolonged period of time against these people that may be committing these iniquitous acts against you. But a lot of things are about letting go. They had something, some of you may have seen this, it was a commercial about the book Dianetics, and they were talking about some things pertaining to the book, and one quote I remember on the commercial, something like, does time heal all wounds, or does it just bury them? Well, the latter is really the truth in a lot of cases. I think sometimes when we look at negative things that are directed at us, and a memory of an injury can dissipate after a certain period of time, a lot of times we'll always think about it to some degree, but we think of it with less frequency on the average as time progresses, and over a period of time it just kind of blows over, I guess, but it doesn't change the action that was committed against you, of course. People even in the community that I'm at, in their own little quiet ways, may be doing hurtful things to me by not embracing me, by not giving me an opportunity to be known, by perhaps judging me in a stereotypical fashion because maybe because I'm a walker, I carry a bag. There are certain things that can be very continual, that could make it difficult to be forgiving. There's even people that I've harbored ill grievances against for some time. There was a so-called friend I had, and I had known him for 30 plus years prior to this, and he, I don't want to say inexplicably, I understand why this happened, he abruptly deleted me and blocked me on his Facebook page, which I thought was connected with a trivial dispute. And to this day, he has never made any attempt to reconcile with me. I made several attempts on my end, and he basically ignored whatever any attempt that I used to try to make amends, or try to, I guess, make atonement, lack of better choice of words, for whatever I may have done, which angered him. And it's just like there are people that really, it can be very steadfast in their views on this. If they have some kind of argument, or somebody says something insolent to him or her, they might just say, I'm not going to have anything to do with this person anymore. What we have to do, people, too, is that we know that people aren't infallible or perfect by any means. Now, if you have a good friendship with somebody, say hypothetically, you could perhaps allow an isolated incident here and there. Somebody might become belligerent, they might be having a bad day or something. Those kind of things you could forgive and forget fairly quickly. But I think the problem is when something becomes very persistent. I think what you have to look at too is, this is something that's kind of, I guess we could say, controversial or debatable, but let's take an example where you had to endure a lot from a person for a certain period of time, and you said, well, you don't feel like you deserve to take it anymore, so you'll just extricate yourself from that situation with the person. I don't think that's necessarily wrong, because most of us are better than that. We don't deserve to be mistreated or ridiculed unnecessarily. At the same time, you can maybe still find peace in your heart with that person that might have been saying a lot of derogatory things to you, and belittling you or berating you or what have you. Somebody that you thought was a friend. Sometimes these people that are doing this, obviously, they're not in their own right mind. They could be doing drugs or something, and it might not be them talking. It might be the drugs talking in a way. At the same time, they had that opportunity or decision to make to take the drugs or not. So you can blame it on the drugs to some degree with some people. Some people are just very insolent, and it's just part of their character or nature. But at the same time, what I want to get back with on is, you could forgive these people in your heart. You don't necessarily, I don't think there's any stipulation that says, oh, you have to make up with them, but you have to try to find peace in your heart with these people and try to forgive, even if you don't actually talk to the person and try to reconcile. If there's people that you try to reconcile and forgive and try to forget things, and they're not willing to acquiesce, then there's nothing you can do about that as well. But what you do is you just find peace in your heart with those people, and that's about the only thing in certain instances that you can actually do. And because, and also another thing I want to touch up on as far as the forgiving thing, and if people are the antithesis of this, and it's somebody that's going to be vindictive or try to plot some plan against somebody because they did them wrong, that is not really good, because what happens is, people, you're expending so much energy a lot of times in plotting your revenge on somebody, that really that person is almost victorious in a way, because that person got you so angry and so upset that you're taking this time out of your schedule when you could be doing something more productive. At the same time, you're planning some plan or some scheme against this person to get revenge. And of course, obviously, if it's connected with something illegal, obviously you don't want to do it, because it might get you in some legal ramifications and wind up being incarcerated. So it's just some food for thought. The best thing to do is to, a lot of times, it's like I said before, to forgive the person in your heart and move forward. If you feel like you're in a relationship, whether platonic or a romantic relationship, and it's not working out, a lot of times the thing is to do is just to extricate yourself from the situation, because you are better than that, and forgive the person in the process if you feel that it was really more on that person why this relationship had to be eradicated. So that's pretty much what I wanted to get on as far as the topic of forgiveness goes. And remember that a lot of times if somebody's not treating you right, it's really going to be more on them than it's pertaining to you. And it's just a lot of times if somebody's berating you or putting you down and constantly saying judgmental things to you, it's more of their own insecurity or inadequacy than it has to do with you as a person. And anyway, people, this is Edwin Learnard, and until next time, people, stay well.